The doorbell rang without warning, sending a jolt through Amelia as she stood in the kitchen, her hands frozen mid-motion, clutching a half-filled plate. "Caleb, stay there, I'll get it," she called to her son, wiping her palms on the kitchen towel. With hesitant steps, she approached the door, glanced through the peephole, and her breath caught in her chest. Outside stood Victoria, her mother-in-law, the last person Amelia expected to see after 6 long, silent months. Her elegant camel coat clashed with the heavy bags of homemade cookies and wrapped gifts she carried. She smiled, blissfully unaware of the storm that had torn her son's family apart. "Oh God, she doesn't know," Amelia thought, her fingers trembling as she turned the key. "Amelia, my dear," Victoria beamed, stepping forward for an embrace, but stopped short. Her eyes swept the entryway, the missing pair of men's shoes, the absent leather jacket that used to hang by the door. Slowly, her gaze returned to Amelia's face. The smile faded. "Where's Nathan?" she asked softly. Amelia's heart clenched. "Come in, Mom," she said, stepping aside. Inside, 2 little voices cried out with joy, unaware that a hidden truth was about to unravel their world. Victoria stood still in the living room, surrounded by the laughter of her grandchildren, but her heart was already heavy with the silence between her and Amelia. The children rummaged through the gift bags with joy, while the 2 women sat across from each other, locked in quiet tension. "I've been trying to call Nathan for 2 weeks," Victoria finally said, her voice calm but shaky. "His phone's always off. I decided to come and see for myself." Amelia's fingers tightened around the mug in her hands. Her voice came out small. "I didn't know how to tell you." Victoria blinked slowly. 3 months, Amelia added. "He left for someone else, a colleague, 12 years younger." A sharp inhale escaped Victoria's lips. Her perfectly manicured hands trembled in her lap. "He just left?" she whispered. "Just packed and walked out?" Amelia nodded. "Didn't even say goodbye to the kids." Victoria looked away, her jaw tightening. "Why didn't you call me? I thought you'd be ashamed of me. You were always so proud of him." "He's my son," Victoria said firmly, "but that doesn't mean I excuse what he's done." A pause filled the room, broken only by the faint sound of children's laughter from the hallway. Amelia's voice cracked. "Simon cries at night. Olivia keeps drawing pictures for him and asking when he'll come home." Victoria stood and walked to the window. Her silhouette was illuminated by the fading afternoon light. "Does he even try to see them?" "He sends money," Amelia whispered. "But excuses pile up. Too much work, business trips, he barely calls." Victoria turned back. "And you? Are you okay financially?" "I'm back teaching. Picked up extra hours, private tutoring on weekends." "You shouldn't have to carry all this alone," Victoria said quietly. "You're not alone." Just then, Olivia ran into the room, clutching a picture she'd drawn. "Grandma, look, I drew Daddy." Victoria knelt and hugged her tightly, forcing a smile. "That's beautiful, sweetheart." Amelia closed her eyes, fighting back tears. "Every night she asked the same questions," she said softly once Olivia had gone. "And I never have the answers." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "Forgive me." "For what?" "For raising him wrong, for not calling, for not being here." "No," Amelia whispered. "You were a wonderful mother, and an even better grandmother." A long silence followed, one filled with the weight of broken dreams and unspoken hopes. Then Victoria said, voice full of resolve, "I'm calling him. Tomorrow. He's going to face this. I won't let you bear this alone." Amelia looked up, startled. "What if he never listens?" "Then we build a new future without him. But at least we'll know we tried." At that moment, a crash echoed from the children's room, followed by crying. Both women jumped up and rushed toward the sound. Whatever was ahead, they knew they were in this together now. The loud crash sent both Amelia and Victoria racing toward the children's room. Inside, 5-year-old Olivia was sitting on the floor, crying with paints spilled across the carpet. Her brother Caleb, eyes wide with guilt, stood nearby. "I tried to help her reach the top shelf," he mumbled, but I was too slow. Victoria quickly scooped Olivia into her arms, rocking her gently. There, sweetheart. Don't cry. Everything's okay. We'll clean this up together. Amelia dropped to her knees, picking up the scattered brushes and toys. When calm was restored, and the children tucked into bed, the two women found themselves in the kitchen again. The ticking clock filled the silence. I never thought it would be like this, Amelia said, her eyes fixed on her tea. I imagined we'd grow old together, watch the kids graduate, maybe retire to a little house near the lake. Now I don't know what to imagine. Victoria reached for her hand. You're still standing. That counts for more than you know. The next day dawned cold and quiet. Then Victoria rose early and made pancakes, filling the home with warmth. Caleb was the first to wake. Grandma, did you sleep at all? She smiled, flipping another pancake. I got up early, that's all. Caleb took a deep breath. Dad loved your pancakes. Victoria paused, spatula in midair, then turned slowly. Whatever happens, she said gently, you and Olivia can always count on me and Grandpa. Always. Later that afternoon, while Amelia was brushing Olivia's hair, the doorbell rang again. I'll get it, Victoria said, sensing Amelia's unease. On the doorstep stood Nathan. He looked nothing like the man who had walked out 3 months ago. His hair was unkempt, his face thinner. He clutched bags of toys and coloring books. Hi, Mom, he said, voice barely above a whisper. Victoria stepped aside wordlessly. Amelia appeared in the hallway. Her eyes narrowed, her mouth a flat line. Hello? Before Nathan could respond, a voice screamed from down the hall. Daddy! Olivia sprinted to him, throwing herself into his arms. Nathan held her tightly, his face crumbling as he buried it in her hair. My little girl. Caleb stood further back, his expression a tangled web of emotions, hope, doubt, and anger. Where have you been? He asked. Why did you leave? Nathan knelt down in front of him. You're right to ask, son. I made a mistake, a terrible one. You left for someone else, Caleb said coldly. Mom cried every night. Nathan's face contorted with guilt. Olivia tugged his sleeve, looking up with innocent eyes. Are you staying now? The air turned still. Amelia's fingers twisted nervously around the edge of her sweater. Let's sit down, Victoria said quietly. We need to talk, all of us. They gathered in the living room, tension thick in the air. Nathan reached into one of the bags and awkwardly offered toys. We don't want toys, Caleb snapped. We want a dad, a real one. Nathan swallowed hard. I'm trying to be one again. The words hung in the room like fragile glass, uncertain, but maybe, just maybe, a beginning. Later that evening, the house had grown quiet again. The kids were asleep, their toys neatly tucked away, the tension from earlier lingering in the air like a storm that hadn't passed. Amelia sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the rim of a chipped coffee mug. Across from her, Nathan sat silently, guilt radiating from every inch of him. She didn't look at him when she spoke. Why did you come back? He hesitated, eyes heavy. Because I couldn't breathe knowing I'd destroyed everything that mattered. Amelia let out a bitter laugh. You had 3 months to realize that. I thought I wanted freedom, he said. I thought I was missing out on life. But all I've done is lose it. You didn't just lose me, she replied. You walked away from your children, from a life we built together brick by brick. I know, Nathan whispered, and I see now it wasn't routine I was trapped in. It was myself. That made her look up. He continued, you gave everything, your time, your love, your strength, and I took it for granted. I didn't leave because of you. I left because I was too weak to face my own dissatisfaction. There was a long silence. Then Amelia asked, and what about her? Nathan lowered his head. It wasn't real. It was escapism. I see that now. It cost me nearly everything. Nearly, she snapped. Because if you're here thinking everything will just go back to normal. No, he said quickly. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can be better. For the kids, for myself. Amelia's voice cracked. They ask about you every day. Caleb's angry, but he's still hoping. Olivia draws you pictures and waits at the door. And me? She paused. I thought I was angry, but the truth is, I'm tired. Tired of pretending I'm not still hurting. Nathan leaned forward. Then let me carry some of that pain. Let me be part of their lives again, even if I can't be part of yours. You can't pick and choose, she said sharply. If you want to be a father again, it means facing everything you left behind, including me. I'm ready, he said, voice steady now. I don't deserve it, but I'm ready. Just then, Victoria walked in, carrying a folded blanket. Caleb's finally asleep, she said. He didn't say much, but he let me hold his hand. Amelia looked at her mother-in-law. I'm scared. You have every right to be, Victoria said gently, but I'll be here, whatever you decide. Amelia looked back at Nathan. We'll take this one day at a time. But this time it's not about just showing up. It's about staying. Nathan nodded, his eyes misty. I'll stay, every single day. And for the first time in months, something shifted in Amelia's heart. Not forgiveness yet, but something softer. The beginning of possibility. The following morning, Amelia sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a warm mug of coffee. The house was quiet, but the silence felt different, lighter somehow. A space had opened, one not filled with ire, but with possibility. Nathan hadn't stayed the night. She had asked him not to, but he had called first thing in the morning to ask if he could come by and take the kids to the park. Amelia hesitated, but agreed, not for him, for Caleb and Olivia. By the time he arrived, the kids were ready. Olivia rushed to the door, barely containing her excitement. Caleb stood in the hallway, arms crossed, uncertain. I brought the kite, Nathan said, holding up the familiar red one, now stitched along its torn edge. Thought we might try again. Caleb didn't respond, but he followed them out the door. When they returned 2 hours later, Amelia stood by the window. Olivia skipped ahead, beaming. Caleb walked beside his father, calmer now, holding the kite like it mattered again. That night at dinner, Nathan asked if he could help wash the dishes. To Amelia's surprise, Caleb handed him a towel. You dry, he muttered. No eye contact, no warmth, but no rejection either. It was something. After the kids went to bed, Nathan lingered near the door. I'd like to come again tomorrow, if it's okay. Help them with homework, maybe make dinner. Amelia studied him. His voice was quiet, his posture no longer defensive. Something in him was shifting. Genuine effort replacing old pride. She nodded once. 5 o'clock, don't be late. Nathan's face softened. Thank you. As the door closed behind him, Amelia let out a long breath. Not relief, not closure, but a start, not a second chance yet, not a promise, just one step forward, a new opportunity. In the days that followed, Nathan showed up. Every single day, always at 5, never late. He helped Caleb with math homework, read bedtime stories to Olivia, and he even stayed to clean up after dinner. He didn't try to reclaim the spotlight. He didn't beg for attention or forgiveness. He simply showed up. And it was in those small, quiet moments that the healing began. Amelia noticed how Nathan listened now, really listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't defend his past mistakes. When Caleb threw sharp words or Olivia asked hard questions, Nathan didn't flinch. He faced them with patience. One evening, Caleb asked, "Are you leaving again?" Nathan paused, set down the book he was reading, and looked his son straight in the eyes. "No," he said firmly, "not unless you ask me to." It was the first time Caleb didn't walk away afterward. Amelia, too, began to soften. Not out of love, not yet, but out of respect. She saw how Nathan had changed. The arrogance was gone, replaced by humility. The excuses had stopped. In their place were quiet actions, steady presence, and eyes that finally seemed to understand what they almost lost. One evening, while packing school lunches, Amelia asked softly, "Do you regret coming back?" Nathan looked at her, his expression honest and raw. "No," he said, "I regret leaving, but I'll never regret fighting to return." She said nothing, but her chest tightened. Not in pain this time, but in recognition. This man wasn't the same one who had walked out the door 3 months ago. And slowly, cautiously, Amelia realized something. Forgiveness didn't have to come all at once. Sometimes growth looked like trust, rebuilt brick by brick. The seasons began to shift. The days grew longer, warmer. The air carried the smell of blooming trees and new beginnings. And in Amelia's home, change unfolded not in grand gestures, but in the small, powerful details of everyday life. Nathan never missed a day. He helped Caleb build a volcano model for science class. He patiently braided Olivia's hair for school when Amelia was rushing out the door. He brought groceries, cooked on weekends, and sat quietly beside Amelia when she needed silence more than words. The wounds were still there, visible in the cautious way Amelia moved around him, in Caleb's moments of withdrawal, in Olivia's occasional questions about why Daddy left. But something else had taken root: stability. One Sunday afternoon, the whole family visited Victoria and her husband. The grandparents welcomed them with open arms. Caleb hesitated at first, but warmed when his grandfather invited him to plant tomatoes in the garden. Olivia ran through the yard laughing, chasing butterflies. Amelia sat on the porch with Victoria, watching the scene. "I didn't think we'd get here," Amelia said softly. Victoria smiled. "And yet, here you are, not just surviving, growing." Amelia looked down at her hands. "I still don't know what comes next." "You don't have to," Victoria said. "You're already living it." That evening, as they drove home, Caleb leaned forward from the back seat. "Mom?" "Yes, honey." "I'm glad Daddy's here again." Amelia caught Nathan's eyes in the rearview mirror. There was no triumph in his face, just quiet gratitude, humility. When they arrived home, Olivia clung to Nathan's hand. "Will you stay for story time?" He glanced at Amelia. She hesitated, then nodded. Later, when the kids were asleep, Amelia walked into the living room. Nathan was folding a blanket, getting ready to leave. "I can stay on the couch if that's easier," he offered gently. "Just to be here in the morning." Amelia looked at him for a long moment. "You're already here, Nathan." He paused, unsure. She smiled faintly. "That's the first time I've said your name without anger." Nathan exhaled shakily. "That means more than you know." She stepped closer, not all the way, but close enough. "It's not about forgetting," she said. "It's about choosing to move forward." "I'll keep choosing us," he said softly, "as long as you let me." And in that quiet space, surrounded by shadows and softness, a new chapter quietly began, not built on illusion or blind forgiveness, but on effort, endurance, and love that had been tested, broken, and still survived. True forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing to see beyond the pain. Amelia didn't rebuild her life overnight, and Nathan didn't earn trust through one grand apology. It took presence, patience, persistence. Love, in its truest form, is not just a feeling. It's a decision we make every single day, especially when it's hardest. We often think of second chances as weakness, but the real strength lies in vulnerability, the courage to admit failure, the grace to extend forgiveness, and the resilience to try again. Amelia's journey teaches us that healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means facing it, learning from it, and moving forward with a deeper understanding. Sometimes love is not loud or perfect. It's quiet. It's showing up when you're not sure you'll be welcomed. It's holding space for anger, tears, and eventually, hope. And when both hearts are willing, what's broken can become stronger than before. In real life, families break through betrayal, distance, or silence, but they can also be rebuilt. This story is a reminder that change takes time, and trust must be earned, not demanded. If you've hurt someone, don't rush their forgiveness. Show up with humility, listen more than you speak, and let your actions speak louder than your regrets. For those on the other side of the hurt, it's okay to protect your heart. You don't owe anyone instant reconciliation. But if you choose to forgive, do it for your peace, not just for theirs. Whether you're healing, rebuilding, or learning to let go, remember, progress isn't linear. Some days will feel like setbacks, but with honesty, effort, and time, even the most broken relationships can find a new rhythm. If you enjoy deep, emotional, and meaningful stories like this, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new update. Your support is the motivation that drives us to keep bringing you powerful stories. Once again, thank you for being here, and see you in the next story.